Welcome to week 8, everybody. I am sitting on my mom's back porch staring at the river, which is quite lovely. The weather has been pretty decent in Alabama. It hasn't been hella hot, which I was expecting. Um, so, luckily, the goddess is working in my favor. I hope you all are well. We are now approaching truly the end of our time together. And we have turned in a rough draft. We have performed peer critiques for one another. You have seen my critique by now. And now it's time to dedicate ourselves to revision. So this week, in addition to the nominal one-on-one conferences that I've asked you to sign up for, if indeed you would like to, we're focusing in two arenas. One of them is to apply the Tolman schema to the argument that you have developed so far to see how logically sound and efficacious it is, and to also begin to consider who your audience is in a more formal way. So first, the audience. I've asked you for the discussion question this week to consider, who are you trying to persuade? A lot of people, when they make an argument, will develop it through their research and through their language into a vacuum of sorts. Kind of like they just imagine the whole general population as their audience. And when we do that, we actually begin to muddle the ability for the argument to specifically persuade. So what I'm asking you to do right away is to really think, okay, who is the group that you want to convince of this argument most so that you can affect a sense of change, right? Why would we make an argument that we work to develop, that we fashion with language, that we go down the research rabbit hole, if we didn't want it to somehow impress itself upon others and to have them at least have a moment of consideration? That is what arguing is good for, right? Not necessarily that we know what's right, but that we at least are assembling considerations so that we make the subjects that we're interested in more complex, that we consider their complexity. And that makes us better critical thinkers for the way we make choices in the future. So, who are you seeking to persuade? Now, when you think about audience, it's not necessarily just an identity. Sure, it could be your colleagues at Santa Clara, right? It could be your lawmakers in your local hometown. It could be the nation as a whole. But it's not just identity that you want to think about. Maybe it is people that share a certain value, or people that are affiliated with a certain group or a certain ideology, right? If you're talking about beauty standards, like Sienna is doing, for example, are you trying to persuade young people who might be the most vulnerable to social media influences? Are you talking to the social media influencers themselves? Are you referring to new parents? Or are you referring to people that are incredibly influenced by these social media trends, and you're trying to tap into their value? So again, your audience could be a value that is shared, a popular conception that might be held. It could be based in region, it could be based in identity, age, demographic. But no matter what, as soon as you select what that audience is, it's amazing how you can already use the developed sophistications that you possess to kind of attenuate the language of your essay to appeal very specifically to them. It also allows you to assess what warrants, right? What presumptions are being summoned in order to make your enthymeme or your logical structure of the argument complete, right? So the more you know who you're writing to, the more you understand exactly how the warrants are being summoned. You see how this is all coming together. In addition to that, in addition to it helping you cohere the logical structure of your argument, it also allows you to create really evocative intros and conclusions and argumentative language because you know who you're speaking to. So you can think about what values they have, what considerations they make, what they know already. And you can bring that into the fold of your essay so that it creates more of an intimate or collapsed psychology between you and the reader or you and your audience. So it becomes a really vital aspect to the development of your essay and certainly your argument itself. Okay? That's one of the things we're going to be talking about in the nominal conferences this week. So if you want one, please sign up because we will talk about, okay, who your audience is and how it can help you kind of fashion the way that you write the revision. So that is the discussion question. Then you have your final thinking paper, which is to apply the Tolman schema to your argument, which is due at the end of the week. Okay? Now, again, it's going to be very helpful for you to select your audience because that's going to assist in you being able to assess where your argument is sound, what warrants you are summoning, do you need to make those warrants explicitly written in the paper or not, and you can also assess what research support, what evidence you have created or that you have found and integrated into your paper that works to support, right? That works to be grounds for your arguments, and what information you may still need in order to make your argument logical. So this is a great effort. We can also talk about this during the conferences if you'd like. Of course, we're going to use the time in whatever way that you see is going to be most beneficial. But again, these are the things to focus on. What is your audience and how are you fashioning that? Or I'm sorry, how you are embedding that into the design of your paper and how logical your argument is currently. Okay? Those are the things for this week, the beginning of the revision process. Also, just remember, if you still have not done your interview, jump on that, please. You definitely need to have that by the end of the paper, but of course, the sooner you have it, the better. Most of you, of course, have already done it, but I don't want you falling through the cracks. If you need help with this, reach out to me, okay? Otherwise, have a great week working to shape these, and for many of you, I will see you in the conferences.